Hello and thanks for joining the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangouts. I'm Ayodele Osinbajo. Today on the program, Vice President Osinbajo vows to waive immunity to clear his name over alleged 90 billion naira first fund, right media organizations for removal of defamatory stories. Gunmen kill 8 Abuja-bound passengers in Kogi State as police discover mass grave of kidnapped victims in Benue. And later on the show, Army Corporal who absconded from Boko Haram war nabbed with 169 blocks of marijuana. I'll be hanging out with Dari Odufowokun, Tony Waji, and Emeka Madunago. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. According to the American author Zig Ziglar, with integrity, you have nothing to fear, since you have nothing to hide. This appears to be the armor of Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who is banking on to shield him from allegation of fraud. Professor Osinbajo has declared his readiness to waive his constitutional immunity to allow investigation and prosecution over allegations he received 90 billion naira from the Federal Inland Revenue Service fares for the 2019 general election. The Vice President has also written to some media houses for retraction of a defamatory story against him. Dari, let me start from you. Vanguard, precisely. Yesterday, the Vice President asked for a retraction, and today, I've seen it, Vanguard, they've written the front page, saying failure to, write that retraction, according to Femi Falana, the counsel to the Vice President, saying that a legal action might be instituted against Vanguard. Let's start from Timi Frank of Vanguard. Who is culpable? I'm a journalist. You granted me an interview. You said everything you have to say, but I published it through my medium.
Well, thank you for that question, and thank you for the opportunity to trace it from where it actually started. Because if we had restricted it to the retraction by Vanguard alone, it may not do justice to the issue. But I'll start with the retraction. The implication of what Vanguard did, and we must also know that majority of other stories written over this matter were generated from that interview. Most of other media that used it extracted from that interview, granted by Timi Frank to Vanguard. Vanguard published as a media organization. But now the issue of retraction.
By the way, who is this Timi Frank?
Timi Frank used to be the deputy spokesperson of APC.
Okay.
He was in the camp of the former Senate president,
okay,
Bukola Saraki, a very loyal ally of Saraki's from their PDP days.
Okay.
We're together in the MPDP, moved into APC together. So let's trace the antecedent of the man we're actually talking about.
Okay.
And Vanguard's retraction is to tell you, read the wordings, that they have discovered that the story published, the interview, the claims by Franks cannot be proven, and they apologize for publishing it. This is how I work. I'm a journalist. You run a story. There is a complaint by somebody affected by the story. The person writes you as a media organization that you publish something that is libelous against me. The first thing you will do as an editor or manager of that media house is to go back to the source of your story privately. Please, this thing you said, can you substantiate it? Can we defend it? Can you substantiate it? If the answer is a yes, and I mean a resounding yes, the media organization comes back and writes you back and say, please, we stand by what we published. It is not our story. We stand by what we published. But if it is a no or an uncertain response, the media organization has discovered that you cannot substantiate what you told them to publish. At that point, what they seek is to remove themselves, or the media organization seeks to remove itself from the mix by retracting the publication. It is not the claims that have been retracted here. It is that publication. It is now left for Timi Frank to say, yes, I'm also retracting because I said things that are not true. Where he feels he is right, he should have been able to convince those who publish the material that go dare him. Let's meet in court. He has not been able to convince Vanguard. That is obvious by the state. Go and read the body of that statement line by line, and you will see between the lines that something has been discovered. This cannot stand under serious scrutiny. And any person that traces the antecedent of Timmy Frank, I don't want to be libelous nor slanderous, but he is a politician. And I say this to Timmy Frank himself now, that politicians are people, when you hear anything from them, you must be cautious in putting such information to use. Timmy Frank cannot tell me anywhere that he was involved in the disbursement or release of that money. That is how he got to know. He is not in a position to be involved if it is actually true. Meaning that he got the information from some people. How sure is he about the information, given to him? Now, the vice president has gone a step further. And I read the various comments. He's risking this. Look at what Zig Ziglar said. He said, with integrity, you have nothing to fear because you actually have nothing to hide.
Okay, Dari, let me pause it there. Timmy Frank, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, they've come out to actually deny the story that even what we get in terms of revenue, not revenue, as allocation from the federal government is not even up to this amount you've quoted, and there's no time that we've been involved in any political campaign or disbursing any money for a political party. Now, but Timmy Frank is still insisting as of today that he's standing by his story, that Vanguard should not be intimidated, that he's ready to meet the vice president in court. What do you read between the lines?
That's all. No. He said he's ready to meet the vice president in court, which means he has thrown his heart in the ring, ready for action.
He must be able to substantiate
it. If he's telling the vice president, like today, he said, I'm ready. He who has sat must prove. And I like the action the vice president took. I can't sit down here and conclude that what Timmy Frank said is true, because I don't have the fact. The vice president said it never happened. The Federal Inland Revenue Service came saying the same thing. What Timmy is saying is insisting. So what is remaining now is for them to proceed to court and save us this whole crisis. If issues like this, because let's say this is Nigeria, and we know what normally happens during election. Timmy Frank, fortunately or unfortunately, was a member of the APC, belongs to a certain camp in the party.
It was suspended.
Yeah, it was suspended before, after the convention. But he refused to leave the party until Saraki and Co left. So, and the vice president belonged to that same party, though Timmy Frank, did he leave with Saraki and Co? I don't know. Due to that crisis at that time, you can't say he moved with them. So I don't know where he belonged at this moment. But look at it this way. They all belong to that same party. And this is what is happening. For me, it's more like a crisis within the party. It's more like a crisis within the party. And I don't buy what is going on. I don't buy it. I know why a lot of people may want to believe what Timmy Frank is saying. We know what happened, how money moved during the election and all that. But as I said before, I wouldn't want to go deep into this. Let the court. If the VP is certain about he has instructed his legal team to proceed to the court, then let it start immediately. I don't know why. How long is it going to take? They can take off this thing by tomorrow. The earlier we get this thing done, the better. But I know a lot of Nigerians are divided on this issue. And so if you want to spare this country from this division, the best thing is to proceed to the court, let Timmy Frank come with his evidence, and then let the vice president meet him there. For me, going to Vanguard is a big mistake. This is not the first time we're having issues. For me, it's media bullying. It's not the issue. okay, if you go to Timmy Frank, for instance, if the management of Vanguard go back to Timmy Frank and say, based on the lawsuit instituted by the vice president against or threat to the media house, and then they come out the next day.
A threat.
No, more like we are talking about. No, we are talking about.
That letter was
Okay, no, okay. Let me withdraw that word. No. Listen, it's not. It's an interview granted. He published it, and of course, you know, this is the age of social media. A lot of people tap their stories from there, and then what you ought to have done is to write to me, Frank. It's an interview. Grant, I have a lot of interviews and a lot of things on that.
I think that's the standard procedure.
Yes, it's standard procedure. No, but for the media, yes.
The person involved.
Yes, no. Timmy Frank Timmy Frank has said, I'm ready. For that fact, you don't have an issue with the media house.
Okay. Emeka, Mazi, when you look at the vice president is saying that section 308 that shields me from, being sued. Do you understand? The president, the vice president, the governor, the deputy governor, Nigerian, I'm ready to waive it and clear my name from this allegation. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I'll say that the Supreme Court has, given set, decisions that, they have decided cases on this matter. There was a case of Olabisi Onabanjo versus Concord Press. There was a case of Donald Duke versus Global Excellence. There was also the extreme case of Malamesia versus Yewa. There have been such cases.
One other one, Bola Tinubu versus...
No, I will come to that.
Okay.
Now, you cannot, that you cannot sue a member of the executive, that he enjoys, the leaders of the executive enjoy absolute immunity. There's qualified immunity for judges, for lawmakers. And then there is absolute immunity for the president, vice president, governor, deputy governor. So now that they cannot be sued, now that fact was established in the case of Bola Tinubu, IMB Securities PLC versus Bola Tinubu in 2001. And where the Supreme Court said the appeal court should have simply struck it out instead of adjourning Sandai, because there was even no basis on which to expect a continuance of the suit while, Bola Tinubu remained the governor of Lagos State, which is one side of it. But if you look at the other side of it, where Donald Duke sued Global Excellence, and that matter came up, of course, you saw that at the end of the day, the Supreme Court agreed that, yes, he could sue. But you see, it has brought up a lot of controversy.
Sue?
Yes, that a member of the executive could, can sue.
Okay.
Now, you look at the case of Gani Fahimi versus the Inspector General of Police in the case of Bola Tinubu. It said, the Supreme Court said, that a member of the executive that enjoys absolute immunity can be investigated for criminal offenses. But you see...
But cannot be tried.
But you see, there have been debates. There have been debates over, if you say, for instance, that, okay, like the Vice President has said, that he wants to waive his immunity. What if in the course of the trial, now certain claims, counterclaims come up against him? Would that waiver of immunity be stretched to it? Don't forget, there are agencies under the office of the Vice President. And some of these agencies, for instance, NEMA, if you remember some time back, there was the allegation of diversion of rice donated by the Chinese government. There have been other things like that. So if, there was an investigation. There was an investigation in terms of that rice thing. There was an investigation. So, but what we're talking about is that if the Vice President decides to go ahead and waive his immunity on this, now if there are counterclaims, how is he going to proceed? So if you even go further, it means we're going to have an interesting time in the courts, because definitely the issue, or one, the Vice President is talking of, himself. He's talking of credibility for himself. Timmy Frank now has the burden of justification, which are two things. Now, so that one is first of all going to occupy attention. That, okay, can the Vice President waive his immunity from the Federal Court to the Appeal Court to the Supreme Court? Then when that one is decided, then they now come back to the matter, front and back, front and back, front and back. It's an interesting case, but I think also that, yes, while the Vice President is talking of, his credibility, But there will also be political, it's going to have political, judicial, implications. Because why? If the vice president says, okay, Mr. President, give me time to go and defend myself in this suit, what it means is that Mr. President will be running on his own. So what happens if if the case arises that the president is incapacitated or the president has to go on medical leave abroad, like what happened 2 years ago? What happens? The vice president is on leave, the president is on leave. Who takes charge of the government? So all these issues have to be considered in terms of the vice president waiving his immunity, because it's not going to be just cut and dry, straightforward like that. It's also going to take time. And right now, the country is in the middle of a serious economic crisis. The country is facing serious security issues. There are so many issues right now. So to recuse the vice president from his duties, for which millions of Nigerians elected him, to now go and pursue
waiving his immunity, case, does that mean recusing him from his statutory?
Let's quickly set the record straight. I think some things have been muddled up.
By who?
When the vice president said he will waive his immunity, yes, he has not indicated that he will ask for leave to go and defend himself.
No, why not, please? Let me make the statement is on your screen.
He didn't ask for leave.
Thorough adjudication of the
matter.
And in enabling a thorough adjudication.
Yes. Let me make my point. Let me make my point.
Let Dari make his point.
If we want to adjudicate thoroughly, the vice president said, my immunity will affect it because as it has been established, there are extents to which you can investigate a member of the executive who is enjoying immunity. Supreme Court has made that
criminal investigation.
But this is a criminal issue. If it is proven.
You will not determine it.
No, it is.
It's a court that will determine it.
Or if it's proven, it's criminal. Don't let's try
to the court that will determine it.
No, it is the prosecutors that will determine it and take it to court.
No.
Now, what I'm saying in essence, that's not even the issue. The issue is the vice president in nowhere in all he said he will ask for leave.
I talked of implications.
One,
implications.
Secondly, we should, I don't know what exactly we want from these people involved. A man, let me cite this example. A man went to the market and stole. We shouted at him to drop what he stole. He dropped it. We asked him to run. He is running and we are still pursuing him. Do we want him dead? When this broke, a lot of people are saying the vice president must allow himself to be investigated. He must allow himself to be, looked into, examined, for us to believe him or to be frank. After about 72 hours, the vice president said, I will be ready to waive my immunity for you to do a proper, meaning, simply put, he's saying he will be ready to answer all questions. He will be ready to open his books, even his life, for you to question him and look into in a manner that at the end of the day, nothing will be hidden in this matter. If we are now bringing that to mean he may have to go on leave of absence, to mean he will not be able to perform his duties, to mean it will affect his elected responsibility of being the vice president and supporting the president, I'm beginning to feel there is more to the allegation itself. It takes me back to what I said earlier. In believing people, politicians, we must be thorough in our carefulness. We should not just be careful. We must be thorough in our carefulness, because this could just be the intention at the end of the day. Destabilize the vice president. Disorganize his working. I'm not speaking for him. I'm only saying, if you are saying this happened, his vice president is not the only person involved here. FRS is involved. You even mentioned the name of a leader of the party. FRS has come out to say, look, this must be your widest imagination. A lie from the pit of hell, as Babajide Odujodu will say. The leader you mentioned, his name came out to say, you must have been drinking too much or you've been hallucinating to arrive at this dramatic drama that you are putting up. There are agencies involved in what you are alleging. You will not be the only person going to court to just say, I said it and I stand by it. You are going to have to prove. And the vice president is saying, because I want you to prove, not the kind of legal system we are running in Nigeria. It is he who asserts that proves. In France, it is you that is being alleged that prove. If that had been the situation, we would say this is why the vice president is running helter-skelter. But now he's saying, I want to help you to prove what you said against me. I will drop my immunity. This is politics when taken too far. It is not politics when it started, in my own opinion. We need things like this for our democracy. If somebody suspects that something has happened, and you have said it in an interview, and you see, the newspaper asked you, because that's the practice. It is compulsory when you are suing for this kind of thing, libel, slander, and what have you. You don't just sue the person who said it. The publishing outfit too is like, it's compulsory, because without the vehicle, the medium, you cannot prove anything against the person who said it. So the vice president team, did the proper thing by writing Vanguard and writing Timmy Frank. Vanguard has responded. That does not mean Vanguard is excused totally from the issue. It is only that this is what they will be going to court to say as witness. Yeah, we go back to him and he said this, and we feel that this cannot be substantiated. Now, what I'm saying is, if we continue to find fault with the fact that the vice president said, come and investigate me, then it becomes suspicious. You said he has done something. He said, I didn't do it. And when he said I didn't do it, he expects that you will retract what you say. And rather than retract it, you are saying, I stand by what I said. The vice president is saying, then let's go through proper adjudication. And I don't want it to be a matter where you say, my immunity was now, affecting the investigation of this matter.
Tony,
so that's how I see it.
Tony, we didn't just get to the matter of this Timmy Frank. The vice president has been under fire in the last 1 week. For the better part of last week, it was, either, one story or the other, and some people feel that politically something is wrong.
That's my fear, because it's like back to back. He's been the VP for the past. Today is Thursday, over a week now. We've been hearing issues even within the villa, how his office is undermined, and a whole lot of. And then coming with this Timmy Frank issue, which is taking another time, and it's going to take till next week. So tomorrow is Friday. So I'm beginning to feel that there's something wrong somewhere, and I'm not. I pity the vice president at this point in time. It's not funny in his political career, and something to me. Listening to, you guys, there's something underneath, and I know you'll be able to crack it. It goes beyond, and because initially I talked about Timmy Frank being a member of the APC, and then likely, kind of being outside the party, but somehow he still has some link within the party and outside. I want to be careful not to suspect a conspiracy, a theory somehow, that maybe there's something they are cooking, and let's just rattle this man and see how it goes. I don't think it's ending soon, and it's telling on the country. If the vice president, you accuse the man of doing something, he said, okay, let's go to court. And before that time, other things have been coming up. He said, no, if I'm the vice president, for instance, I should suspect there's something more. Suddenly, I've been in office for 4 years, and I'm coming back, and suddenly, I don't want to believe it could be from the party or if outside, but I know there's something cooking somewhere, and I pray for him.
I think when we come on a panel like this, we should avoid throwing stones at each other. You use certain words. Dare, you said it's suspicious, modeling up. I think you can state your opinion without attempting to personally attack my opinion. That's by the way. You heard the question clearly, and I tried to situate it based on decided cases, based on arguments. If the vice president has decided to go to court, it is within his right. But you cannot also question the right of people who have said that it is wrong or it is politically ill-advised for the vice president to go to court. You cannot question their right to also raise issues. This is a democracy. People can choose to believe what they want to believe. People can actually advance arguments. These things help our democracy. What my point is this. I'm looking at both sides. You asked me about the legal side, which is that, okay, the vice president, as an individual, is within his right to go to court. But again, I now brought out instances of cases where I brought out the issue of IMB Securities versus Bola Tinubu, where the issue of immunity was settled, that the matter couldn't proceed because he was in the appellant, which in this case was Bola Tinubu, was still in office, so he couldn't proceed. But again,
it cannot.
The matter could not proceed because of the immunity clause. But I now went further to tell you about when the issue of global excellence versus Donald Duke came up. And the court said yes, that the holder of the absolute immunity could go to court, could sue. But I now said again that there have been arguments about the issue of equality and equity. If you look at a review by Omo Arishi, a lawyer, on this matter, extensive review. Even the learned Justice Bola Ajibola had also written something about it. Justice Ayola had written about it. There are different arguments. It is not a one-way thing. That's what I was trying to talk about. And I was trying to talk about that. I was trying to say something that if, of course, the Vice President has said he will go, he's proceeding to court. Yes, he has taken he has taken pre-trial actions. But again, that's not that there will be political implications. That's what I talked about. There will be political implications. Okay, for instance, you say, okay, it's not going to affect the Vice President's duty. What if on the day, maybe the Vice President is scheduled to represent the President at an event, or even to chair an event, or to handle certain responsibilities, he is scheduled to appear in the witness box. Which one will give way? It will definitely affect his functions. Let us not joke about it. But you see, for me, I like to restrict myself to the point that it's the courts that will decide whether the Vice President actually has the right to waive his immunity. It is the courts that will decide. It is not, I'm not the one to decide.
Okay, that's like the first thing to decide.
It's going to be that matter is going to be decided.
Actually,
whether it can actually, because Omo Arishi said in his opinion that equality should also amount to equity. So if you can waive your immunity, if other matters arise, if some people decide to now stretch that waiving of the immunity, would you be ready to continue stretching it?
Dari, some people are of the opinion that it's not Professor Yemi Osinbajo. When they were framing Section 308, they did not have Professor Yemi Osinbajo in mind. They had the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in mind.
Correct.
That at any given time, it cannot be sued, and it is immune to prosecution. Section 308. That the law is silent on maybe the person can say, look, I'm waiving it, or I'm not waiving it.
Good. And that's exactly the beauty of what is happening. And that's, I want to repeat, that when issues happen, we should restrict ourselves to the issues and not try to, create scenarios. When we create scenarios, we put all of us in a situation whereby we cannot try new things. It is left for the court. You see, the first thing the court will look at, and I won't be shocked if somebody from somewhere goes to court and say, Osinbajo cannot waive his immunity. I'm challenging that.
No, they'll say it's a busy
Yes, he will say he's a Nigerian. He will say he's trying to defend the Constitution.
It's a medicine in
The Vice President is saying, they will spend time determining that. The Vice President is saying, look, I want to waive my immunity. We should not begin to conjecture or conjure up possibilities before the court will say, look, you cannot. You see, all this, I say fifth columnist, sincerely, in all this. When Tony was speaking, he actually put this whole thing in very clear perspectives. In a matter of 1 week, you can see the way the issues are becoming. It has always all been about Yemi Osinbajo. Finally, there is this grand design of an allegation. I am not speaking for or against him. I am saying he occupies an office. We know the office is political. It is in the place of politicians, either low or high, either at the national level or low, to paint people in bad light when they are ready to do away with them. To paint people in bad light when they are ready to, cut them to size. And it is also possible that these issues are there and we need to look at them. Somebody is talking about an FRS 90 billion naira. Then we are already hearing stories of agencies under the Vice President who had this question, that, and these have not been proven anyway. These are mere allegations. Now, if the Vice President say, put aside my immunity, like I suspect, don't be surprised that he may be asked to come and answer for one missing rice somewhere. and one missing palm oil.
Are you saying that there was no missing rice in Nema? Are you saying that?
I don't know.
That is not
Fine,
subject
you
of
will say you
discussion.
don't know, but not to say that nothing like that happened. Not me.
You know, I don't
You
know.
are a journalist.
What I'm saying, I don't know because there was an allegation of missing rice. Nobody has proven it.
I want us to just restrict on this
Thank you.
rule of waiving immunity.
It is
Okay, Daddy, we're good, we're good. Daddy, I have to go on the break. Daddy, I have to go on my break. Daddy, I have to go on this break. Yeah, still to come. Army corporal who absconded from Boko Haram war nabbed with 169 blocks of marijuana in Jigawa State. Stay with us. It's still journalist hangout. It's hot here. I have to douse this tension. If you're just joining us, you are watching the multi-award-winning program, Journalist Hangout. I can confirm that it's very, very hot in the studio here. It appears Nigeria, that's very, very hot in the studio here. It appears Nigeria is under a siege and criminals are holding the country by the jugular. Few instances will suffice here. On Tuesday, suspected kidnappers killed 8 Abuja-bound travelers in Kotonkafe, Kogi local government area of Kogi State. Now, gunmen attacked the vehicle the victim were traveling in from Port Harcourt, River State, and opened fire on them in a commando-like style. Another vehicle with 3 occupants from Ibadan, Oyo State, were shot at when they tried to escape after running into the scene. In Benue State, operatives of the Joint Security Patrol Team, Operation Zenda, discovered a mass grave of kidnapped victims at Bashe village in Ushobong local government area of the state. 9 bodies were exhumed from the grave, while residents still dug for more. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony, this is horrifying. This is quite terrible.
It's, I don't know. I was on the road, I traveled recently, and I was scared all through. But I was impressed because that was between Lagos here and Benin.
How can you be scared? Lagos.
Yeah, I was scared.
Lagos
Yeah, driving on that road, it's horrible.
Okay, you pass through Ijebu,
Yeah,
J4, or Okada. I know.
I know. After Ijebode and Ore. Do you know that road is extremely lonely?
Yes.
Lonely and very narrow. Anything can happen. But I was impressed because I saw a lot of but I was impressed when I saw anti-kidnapping unit of the Nigerian police force. Like every 20 meters, they were everywhere. You can come from between Ijebu-Ode and Ore. That's about 20 checkpoints, and they were walking. They were the truth that they didn't ask for any bribe. They just had to went and they looked through the car and they waved you. But they were serious. And then I think the federal government was trying to, expand the road. They were using to clear all these big trees, so you can see through. So that gave me that hope. I can continue the journey. But it's scary. Until I got back, I wasn't myself. So, and it shouldn't be so in a country like this. Traveling most times by road, I prefer it than air, because when you travel by road, you see a lot of things. You can come down, but by air, for me, I have this phobia. So when you do this, a lot of people, okay, want to fly by air, for instance. You even go to the airport and you spend hours, your flight is delayed and all that. So you still see a lot of people want to go by road, which means attention should be paid on that road. Seriously, a lot of people travel in and out of that. For instance, today I can count how many people, because it's like on a daily basis, people move on that road. I'm using that road because that's the particular road I'm familiar with. And a situation where you stop a full loaded bus and drive that bus into the forest. And when they couldn't cooperate, and they are killed and buried. It has never been like this. We are here. We're not looking at I won't say I'm feeling it, but outsiders, the way they see Nigeria, when they read stories like this, I don't know what I know. I just mentioned the security network, what they are doing, the Nigerian police, for instance. But I think they can do more. There are some places on these roads daily that issues like this are being reported. For instance, after Okada, between Okada and Ofosu, it happens like that all the time. You expect that when you get there, you see standby police units, no movement. That should be their job. But you don't see such. And what you hear is that it happens like all the time. So when it happens all the time and nothing is happening, it's like nothing is going on. This in some states, governors are trying to do something different, like this community policing. I think at the end of the day, we cannot run away from it. It must happen. There is no way it won't happen. We need to change our strategy, security strategy, in terms of dealing with these issues. It's happening on the road I mentioned. It's happening all over the country, which means there's something. But the one that annoys me most is when an IG of police sits down and tells me that the security of the country is intact. Something has to be done. If you sit down and people are saying because these are feedback channels, people are telling you things are not working. It's either you cannot handle your commissioners of police or you are not sitting well on your chair. That is why I say it. Because I thank God for some states, for instance, Lagos. I like the network here, the security is tight. But in some states, you can't. The moment you leave, for instance, you're traveling between, let's say you're leaving Lagos, the moment you cross onto that Shagamu Express Road leading to Ijebu-Ode and Co., it's like you drive with serious attention. It shouldn't be. I want to see a connection, a network between these governors coming together and doing things for the betterment of the people. For me, security matters a lot to me. You want to sleep at night with your two eyes closed. But that's not what you're getting today.
I think that we have something like that coming up in
I like the Southwest states. They're coming up with something like that.
That's the development agenda for Western Nigeria. Not just the governors met, the commissioners of police, the traditional rulers, the IG was there. And they met in Ibadan and they fashioned out ways of working together. But that to me, like I said, the day that came up, we were here, and is not enough. I want to agree totally with Tony that this is the time not just for state police, but for community policing. I will cite this example. When we used to have just the Federal Road Safety Commission as the sole agency for traffic and road issues in 36 states of the Federation, we knew how chaotic some roads used to be. Especially, you find them walking the interland, the inter roads, the state roads, and there will be heavy traffic on the federal roads because it's easier for them to stay between Ikorodu and Ikeja and clear. But the moment each state started having its own traffic management authority.
Started in Lagos.
They started with Lagos, that's Lasma, Tracy in Ogun. This thing, nearly all states have now, at least the metropolitan states. The implication was the federal road safety guys were restricted to the highways. And we saw similar situations on our federal roads because we now have more men manning the federal roads because each state were manning their own roads. That is what will happen when we get state police. We don't have enough policemen, but the moment Lagos has its own policemen, the federal policemen in Lagos will now pay more attention to issues that relate to Lagos and Ogun, Lagos and Oyo, federal issues. And we will have more men manning the areas that needs to be policed. That is one. Having said that, I think the federal government should please try and score some good marks in the area of security. If this current administration is to be assessed today and the bulk of the mark is expected to come from security, the administration will fail. It is not enough to say you are trying. It is more important for people to see that you are making efforts. I want to believe that the current and new, when he came, I will recall I praised him to high heavens, the new IG, with the little knowledge I have of him, and coming to the fact that he was looking slim and businesslike. But I'm beginning to be afraid that he may be overwhelmed sooner than we expected. the security situation is not improving, not only in the Southwest, everywhere in the country. It is not improving, and we cannot rule out the fact that the insurgency in the Northeast is fast spreading its tentacles. People are running away. I read that some of the Boko Haram fighters themselves are getting tired of the war, and they are abandoning the camps, moving into town. They are not trained farmers or trained butchers, and they will survive. So what they have been doing in the last 8-9 years is killing. So they are now killing for money. And unless we gather our loins and attack this with more seriousness, this thing will spread. Okay. When people begin to feel crime is lucrative, more people will take to crime.
Omega, saying that 9 bodies were exhumed from the grave, that means the kidnappers are so callous to the extent of, I don't know what might have happened, then to have killed the abductors. I thought it was all about getting the money.
It's sad. Looking at those images, I don't know. I feel very sad. I mean, these are human beings, you know. My God, I don't know. The situation is really, it has gone very, very bad. It's terrible. I mean, this is not just kidnapping. This is worse than kidnapping. I mean, we are now competing with Mexico. I've said it on this program a number of times. I said we are competing with Mexico. Mexico is a place where people just disappear, you know. Criminal gangs are so audacious. They feel they can do anything, pick people, kill people, do anything. Let me tell you, government needs to, as a matter of urgency, boost the strength of the police force. You're talking of recruiting 10,000. I think government should talk about recruiting 30,000. And then maybe bringing back some retired police officers who
trained ones,
well trained and who really distinguish themselves. Bring them out to help take this kidnapping problem as seriously as terrorism. If our government should classify it as terrorism, it is not just about kidnapping as if you just moved a glass of water from one point to another point. No. Kidnapping should be classified now as terrorism, and it should be met with, it should be classified as a capital offense. The president should call a meeting of governors, and then also call a meeting of traditional rulers, a summit of traditional rulers, because that forest where those kidnappers bury those people, there's a traditional ruler in charge of that area. If the traditional ruler tell me that he was not aware of such activities, what has he done? The DPO in charge of that area, what was he doing? And then look at, masked kidnappers in military camouflage to stop, to really be audacious enough to mount a roadblock. They shot at this vehicle. The vehicle somersaulted. The vehicle that was going from Paracourt to Abuja, somersaulted and killed all the occupants. And then again, they shot at another vehicle, but the driver managed to escape. They just opened fire. Let me tell you something. Something terrible is going on with this issue of kidnapping. We must take it as seriously as the fight against Boko Haram. And it must be classified as terrorism. I'll say it, and I'll say it again. Government should stop treating it as a matter just for intelligence response team. They pick this one, as you are picking some people here. Some people are getting audacious here. 2 days ago, the governor of Zamfara State, he put out some tweets saying that some disgruntled politicians had gone to recruit runaway Boko Haram insurgents to cause mayhem in 7 local governments of the state between 26th of September and 23rd of October. And I'm surprised it's not anywhere. So these things the government must take this thing very, very seriously. Otherwise, we never know where it will get to.
Okay, we have to leave it there. And finally, there's a popular saying that every day is for the thief, but one day is for the owner. This statement portrays that no matter how long one may try to hide a crime, someday nemesis will catch up with such individual. Police have arrested one Army Corporal, Muzabilu Abdullahi, with 169 blocks of marijuana in Ringim local government area of Jigawa 7 months after he absconded from the battlefront in the war against Boko Haram. The police and said the case is under investigation, after which Abdullahi will be transferred to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLA, for prosecution. He betrayed an oath and now is caught for drug peddling. Tony, he was fighting Boko Haram, and we understand that we're told that some of these guys are even deserting. You could see those ones that went away with 400 million naira, dropped their rifles, dropped their rifles because they knew that that one could cause problem. Dropped their rifles, dropped their name tag and uniform,
walked away
and disappeared into things.
So they didn't go with anything that belongs to you.
So, and disappeared like that. You know, if there might be manhunt for them if they are taking their rifle.
But they went away. It was a well-calculated arrangement.
It was later we found out it was state funds.
Yeah, it was well-calculated arrangement.
Now, this one just deserted, and he didn't even go legit.
They're always escorting trucks.
It's going to.
I think it's high time. It's high time, and it's high time the federal government or the recruiting agency, whatever, should start looking at the recruitment procedures. You know, in a country where unemployment is on the high side, this is what you get. A lot of people want to go into the police force, the army, the navy, the air force, and immigration, custom, and all that, because of it's not a job they have a passion for. So at a particular level, when they are frustrated, you get this. For instance, in the Nigerian police force, go to Nigerian roads, you see a lot of police corporal, sergeants, inspectors in front of trailers at times. They're escorting illegal goods across the federation. The IGs, the IGs, the commissioners of police, the DPOs, the area commanders, they've spoken many times, but they will not listen. So they do these things all the time. We had soldiers deserting war fronts. This one in particular was escorting a vehicle conveying marijuana, Abi? And so it happens like all the time. And we're talking about the kidnapping here too. We've seen a scenario that is playing out now.
He might as well leave the war front and decide to be a kidnapper.
Yes, and come back later. So that is, and it's happening. And these are people you see on the road, and you have that kind of, that impression that I'm safe. Because they have their uniform.
False confidence.
It's not going to help now. I think we need to really sit down, because this still borders around security.
Yeah.
I think I see the topic before on this one still merged.
Yes.
There's no difference. We need to sit down. Something needs to be done. Our security architecture needs to be redesigned. Something is not working. Seriously, because we have been talking about this for over 4 years, and we're going to the 5th year. Something needs to be, our lives, we are sitting down here comfortably talking about, we don't know who is the next hit. It happens every day. Some people go and come back, you will not see them again. Go on the papers, you see missing person. We can't continue to run the country like this. Something needs to happen.
Because sometimes you just see, like in Depot in Zaria, where they recruit Nigerian, that Depot in Zaria, there's police college. Now let's look at the criteria on what they go through before they are recruited. And as Tony said, it's not the number of unemployed youths outside there, not the number of frustrated youths. Are these people really committed? Do they want to serve the fatherland? Because it's taking it a step further. In the military, it must take a level of commitment before you sign up for that kind of thing. So deserting and be escorting vehicles with marijuana says a lot about the oath that this guy has taken.
You see, the question to ask is this. When people say, concern me, do you know what is embedded in it? There is no commitment. Whether they are civilians, whether they are in the military, whether they are in the police, there is no commitment to the nation. There is no commitment to the fact that you are a citizen. People just don't care. They don't give a damn. They don't give a hoot. We must address that first of all. So it's not just about, just look away, Naden Sabi. I think government we've talked about National Orientation Agency here. It's a dead agency. So I think maybe government needs to do something in another direction. You know, another direction. I mean, there was a time somebody brought up this corruption, not in my country. I think we should take it a step further. We need to reorientate Nigerians. That, you see, the fact that you are holding a weapon or you have a uniform on doesn't give you access to brutalize fellow Nigerians, doesn't give you access to criminality, doesn't give you access to abuse the privilege. Because put on a uniform is a privilege. There are millions of Nigerians who can actually be in that position, but you have been chosen and you are abusing that privilege. Nigerians must be made to know that these things have consequences. There must be direct consequences for these things. Or else, people will continue to get away with anything. He ran away from the Boko Haram war, and then now, you know, enlisted himself in a different kind of war, a kind of economic emancipation of himself. You know, he now recruited himself into criminality. You see all these things everywhere. You talk about different arms of the police. You talk about you even have quasi-security agencies. You see what they do to people. You even see local government officials extorting people.
Once they have the uniform,
all kinds of things. You see, government must do something about it. People must realize that actions have, you know, like Isaac Newton said, that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Sorry, Ayo, sorry. And you know, I'm suggesting like disciplinary measures, all these in-house disciplinary measures the military takes, you know, under liberal culture. And that's you don't hear anything about it again.
That's the way it's fashioned.
Yes, I understand. That's the way it's fashioned.
It's not a public
no, that's the way, but it cannot continue. It's all we're not saying. And then the next thing you see this guy on the street. They're back into the street. That's what I'm saying. Something has to change.
Let me add my voice to this, and I'm going to say it this way that there are so many Mozambique Abdullahis here in Lagos, in Abeokuta, in other places. I am not, well, congratulations to the police or whoever arrested this guy, but I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed because, are we talking about this unfortunate fellow because he was caught with drugs? Every day you see corporals, soldiers, escorting vehicles in Lagos as if it is a form of legitimate duty of our armed forces. Every day. I drove here this morning. You will drive home in the night. Every day you come across them.
Not my routes.
You see them on Lagos. That is one. Two, the guy is an example of the rot we are talking about in the system. When a system is decayed, all sorts of things will happen. This man is supposed to be fighting Boko Haram. Now today, I think it's on page 4 or 5 of the Nation newspapers today. There's a story of a young man who daringly carried his own trade, the same marijuana, to the office of Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Ikoyi, Shore Road, Ikoyi, to go and sell to construction workers. There's a construction work going on in the premises. And he was caught selling marijuana in the office of NDLA. He took the battle to the lion in his own day. That is how daring it is. You can imagine that's how bad the situation is. So when they are going to
look for that story.
It's
interesting,
interesting story on the Nation. The moment they prosecute Mozambique Abdullahi, I want to see less numbers of soldiers escorting trailers and other vehicles. That is when I will believe this effort is yielding fruits. Many of the kidnappers we are talking about are deserters, soldiers. Some of them are even serving soldiers. We've had 1 or 2 being interviewed. Serving soldiers involved in criminalities. So
look at the Taraba case.
Look at the Taraba case. Look at how security agents aided a known criminal, a known kidnapper. So there is nothing to rejoice about in the arrest of Osinbajo Abdullahi until we stop seeing soldiers escorting. They are on escort duties. Who assigned them, we don't know.
Illegal.
Whether it is legal, you can't even say it's illegal. You don't know whether it's
I don't even know whether, yes, somebody paid, yes.
Correct.
People were ordered to escort money to see from where to where. And I was saying that they did not go away with anything that belongs to you. You were saying,
but they went away with state funds.
We discovered later that it was state funds. Were you there when they were listening to that, right?
All right.
So we have to look into all these things, and may God help us.
May God help us.
We have to call it a wrap. On that note, Dari Odifuokan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You added color to the program today. Tony Waje, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And Emeka Madunago,
Thank you very much.
so much.
I think I should extend that shit.
No, because we first have
We are debating.
It's a heated argument.
And that's our offering today.
Yeah.
Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Osinbajo. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.